Okay. So this question is a little bit related to the last one, but I also saw somewhere, I can't remember exactly where, on like the poster for the exhibition or something, it mentioned the words like lowbrow art. And again, I kind of feel it's like this like, you know, keeping it distinct from like a high art type of thing.
Right.
Do you feel at all bad for being like ghettoized as like a lowbrow artist?
No, that's just something that's a label that's been thrown around. I find it, and more that label seems to be thrown around in North America. To me, the lowbrow art scene, right, that seems to exist, especially in America, has grown, gotten bigger, and it's in a way it's kind of they're using it. They're kind of throwing it back at the art community for labeling that way.
Right. Actually, like they're kind of in some ways like the cool ones.
Yeah. Because
they're like the skaters and the like, I don't know, the like punk rockers and stuff like that. They're not the like black outfit kind of like. Although like I kind of really enjoy like high art also. I think there's like a.
It's nothing against fine art. It just doesn't seem to come out of me. And like I said, like it seems whatever I do. Seem to fit in that kind of style, and so I put that in there, and actually it's caused me nothing but grief ever since.
Oh really?
Yeah, everyone's coming to me because it's all in Chinese except for that. That's the only English on that card.
Okay.
And everyone's coming to me. Well, what is this lowbrow art? Well, your stuff. I like highbrow myself.
Okay, but I mean, you look at it, and it obviously, I mean, coming from North America, it is obviously more from a kind of lowbrow. I don't know. I understand the label. The label, but I don't think that takes away any kind of like expressive power from it.
No, the reason I actually wrote that in there was just because actually, if you read the Chinese, the rest of it sort of says it explains that people given this label to this style or this genre, I guess. Then, but when I think of it, I don't really think of it as the term itself being lowbrow, being lesser or worse.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. Just different. Yeah. Okay, great. Maybe we can look at these. You might want to take a look at these.
Okay.
I just noticed, well, there's like definitely a pretty clear element of like social critique in a lot of the work. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
On specific pieces?
However you want. Like I noticed there's one kind of that seems to be like a bit of like a critique on religion, and then this one seems to be like a critique on like Taiwanese parents or like the bushy band system or something.
Well, I'll talk about these ones. These ones, probably more people have asked me about these ones than any other. Each one of these, when I drew them, I was thinking more of like urban kids.
Okay.
But just because I'm here and I teach Taiwanese kids, right? I don't teach back home.
Right.
When I came here, I've never taught before. I've worked with kids in fairs and things like that, but never been a teacher.
Yeah. So
my experience with children is Taiwanese kids, so they've been translated as Taiwanese kids. These are stories that I heard directly. But the way that I thought about it, I was hoping that people wouldn't think that I'm really like wagging my finger at Taiwanese parents, like, you should be more like us.
Yeah.
It's not really like that. I mean, I have a niece that she's also growing up in the city. And my sister also has stories that are very similar to these kids. It seems more of an urban environment rather than a rural environment.
That's interesting. I kind of took it as a more like, not like a Asian way versus like a Western way.
Yeah.
But as I saw it through that lens, I kind of, like at first I read the stories and I was a bit shocked. Like, oh, these kids seem so like abused and like restricted and stuff. But at the same time, like the flip side of that to me was that it's another way of like loving and like trying to protect your kids and to try to get the most from them and stuff like that. So
which is why, like, somebody asked me, I said, well, why did you call it the Powders and Whiners? It seems like your kids are all portrayed as victims. And I said, well, it's a very sarcastic label. Calling them the Powders and Whiners in one way is only because I'm not really sure how to take some of their stories. Okay. Because I know also for being an uncle that my niece can be very melodramatic.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Cool. Let's see. What do I have left? Okay, pretty much getting near the end of my questions. I was just wondering if you wanted to talk about like any of your influences. I see some kind of skateboardy type of stuff with like skulls.
Yeah.
And I could definitely see that on a skateboard. Yeah. This I kind of see like some like maybe pop music, like Gorillaz-ish type of stuff. I see some like Led Zeppelin kind of like wizards and like, I don't know, epic like rock and roll stories. And I see like a kind of Iron Man, I Iron Man kind of guy. Do you want to elaborate on like your influences and how they kind of come together?
Dude, it sounds you hit it on the mark pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, some of it. I mean, like the one in the far corner, the Wizard Mountain. I mean, that was just me trying to do a heavy metal album cover. I mean, that's
okay.
I love heavy metal album covers. I think they're hilarious. Like,
all right.
There's a lot of people ask me about if there's any meaning behind it. Zero.
Yeah. Okay.
Some have meanings behind them. None.
Okay.
That
cool.
was just a cool rock picture.
Yeah.
Period. That's it. But
it just takes you to like space. Some weird heavy metal place.
Yeah, I'm very heavily influenced. I'm heavily influenced by a lot of. There's a lot of contemporary illustrators, guys like Mark Ryden and Jeff Soto, the Coen brothers. There's a whole bunch. But just seeing what they were able to do, that they were able to translate. Like they would be artists that worked on films or video games or whatever, but they were able to translate it into the gallery space.
You might want to, just because like we had just talked about some of these paintings, you might want to see what we are talking about.
Okay.
Well, just, I mean, for the video. Like to me, this is obviously like really skateboardy.
Yeah.
It's awesome, like, but almost even like the shape of a skateboard.
Yep.
And then here, this one really struck me as that. All I could think of was like Black Sabbath, Iron Man.
Right.
When I saw it, it's pretty awesome. Some
Yep.
like industrial, like scary guy who looks like he could destroy an entire town without even flinching.
But that one actually has a slight social critique. I actually kind of left it out. I mean, other than the title, "Breathe in That Fresh Air."
Okay.
That it was just I didn't want to make a social commentary as much as just I just don't like how dirty the guns are.
Okay.
It's just it was just a little bit of how I felt.
All right.
It actually really didn't even look like that. If you saw the original drawing for that, it looked very, very different. I think the only thing that's the same is the billowing smoke coming out of his mouth.
Okay.
But it just started with me just thinking like, if I ride my bike or my scooter, I feel it.
I'm totally used to it now.
I'm used to it now too, but like the first year I came, the first summer, I coughed and I was sick.
I got sick like constantly my first year.
Exactly.
But now, like if I breathe really clean air, it's like weird.
So that's what that one's about.
Okay.
These ones, like this.
These are like that.
This one I thought of like this one. I read a lot of science fiction. I like a lot of sci-fi, and I just thought it'd be cool just to create my own especially like book covers. I always really liked elaborate book covers, which I guess more stemming out of like the 60s and 70s. I like their style a lot more than the modern style.
Okay.
So that was just my attempt at that.
Okay, cool.
Let's see. This one, I don't know if you've ever seen. There's a television cartoon called The Venture Brothers.
Haven't seen it.
Okay, and it also ties in with things like old 60s shows like The Munsters and the Addams Family.
Yeah, it just struck me as like that.
Yep, exactly. And then there's the show The Venture Brothers. It's just a modern version of a cartoon. And I thought, well, I can do that. I can probably make my own cast of kooky characters. And there's going to be a backstory, but I just didn't get around to it.
Okay, cool, man. Anyways, so that's basically about all I have for you. Thanks a lot. Really, you obviously worked really hard on it. It looks really good. I hope you keep doing it. And,
Thanks.
Yeah, good stuff.
Thanks very much.
All right. That's it.
Ciao.
Cut.
Wait, one.
Okay, go right. You can really turn it off. That was pretty fun.
It's good.
Yeah, I enjoyed doing that.
I don't know if I like being on camera so much.
I kind of like it more when we have some business being on camera. Like when we're doing the interview, I'm totally comfortable with it, but when it's just like me trying to be me, I'm like,
All awkward.
yeah. All right then. Seriously, please.